safe now, and it's time to rest. Let go of the day and allow your mind to drift back, far back in time. Tonight we'll wander into the gentle rhythms of medieval life, but not the battles or kings. No, this is a much softer tale. Tonight you'll follow the quiet footsteps of a village baker, a man who rises before the sun, who kneads dough in the hush of dawn, and brings the comfort of warm bread to his sleepy neighbors. Let this gentle story ease you into sleep, like the scent of flour and rising dough on a cold morning. In a small English village in the early 1300s, where cobbled paths wind past timbered cottages and the church bell rings softly to mark the hour, lies a thatched-roof bakehouse, nestled between a miller's lane and a narrow stream. This is where our baker, Edmund, lives and works. He is already awake, long before the roosters crow. The world outside is dark and hushed. Even the leaves are still, cradled in a misty breath of dawn. Inside the bakehouse, there's only the soft crackle of a low fire. The oven is a rounded stone structure, a large domed hearth that holds yesterday's warmth. Edmund moves quietly, with the well-practiced rhythm of habit. He stokes the embers with care, coaxing the heat back to life. By the flicker of candlelight, he reaches for his flour. Ground just yesterday at the village mill, it's rough, nutty, and speckled with the golden flecks of bran. No white flour here. This is the bread of laborers, dark and hearty, honest, filling. He mixes water from the well, still cool and clean, salt from the distant coast, a precious thing, and a touch of yesterday's sour starter. Then, as he begins to knead. By the time the village stirs, Edmund's loaves are already taking shape. He's shaped them by hand, round, with deep slashes across the top. Each loaf will speak its own story when it rises. Cracks, bubbles, swells, all telling of the fire's mood and the weather's will. Outside, the church bell rings softly. Matins. The sound drifts over dew-wet roofs, past sleepy chickens, through open shutters. Children rise slowly. Mothers sweep hearths. A cow moos lazily. The baker slides his first batch into the oven with a long-handled wooden peel. Each loaf is placed like a gift, and the door is sealed with a slab of wood and wet clay. It will bake slowly, silently. While he waits, Edmund cleans his tools, the dough bowl, the kneading bench. Every surface is wiped with warm water and straw cloth. Sometimes he hums. He doesn't speak much. The fire speaks for him. Morning footsteps and market whispers. Later in the morning, villagers begin to arrive. First the cooper's wife, then the blacksmith's apprentice, and old Marjorie with her crooked cane and her quiet smile. Each brings a few coins, sometimes bartered goods, eggs, wool, or honey. Edmund weighs the loaves with a small scale, careful to be fair. Bread must be honest, be honest. It is sacred in its own humble way. There is no rush, no line, just small nods, murmured thanks, and the occasional soft laugh. Children lean close to the warm walls, stealing the scent of crust and ash. By midday, the busiest hours are past. The sun is higher now, casting gentle shadows across the cottage walls. The bakehouse is quiet once again. Edmund eats a simple meal, bread, of course, a wedge of cheese and a few dried apples. He sits on a stool near the doorway, listening to birds. A robin hops across the cobblestones. A breeze carries the scent of distant lavender and sheep. He sips ale from a clay mug, home-brewed, mild and earthy. These hours are his own. He sometimes naps by the oven's warmth. Other times he mends his tunic, or writes short notes with a goose feather, keeping a record of flour used and bread sold. He doesn't call it a ledger, but that's what it is. The second firing and fading light. In the late afternoon, Edmund kindles the fire again. The oven needs warmth for tomorrow's rise. He feeds it slowly, gently, not with a rush of heat, but with a craftsman's care. Ashes swept aside, coals shifted, wood laid with the patience of years. A second batch of loaves, fewer this time, is prepared. These are for the monks. They come quietly at dusk, robes brushing the dust. Edmund prepares their loaves with a cross on top. Not just decoration, it helps the bread rise evenly, but also a quiet reverence. Even in flour and water there is respect. The sun dips low, Shadows stretch long. The air grows cooler. As night falls, the village quiets. Chickens roost. Lanterns flicker behind shutters. And the bakehouse door is shut for the night. Edmund sits by the fire one last time. He brushes flour from his sleeves. The room smells of earth and ash and bread. He doesn't speak. There's no need. Tomorrow he'll rise again, before the world wakes, before the bells toll. The rhythm will continue, kneading, shaping, baking, feeding the village with warmth and patience. And now, as you rest, perhaps you can still smell the loaves in your dreams. Perhaps you can hear the gentle crackle of fire and the whisper of wind through old shutters. Sleep now, sleep deeply, and dream of warm bread in a quiet medieval village where time moves slowly and everything is made by hand. Thank you for joining this gentle journey through the life of a medieval baker. May your dreams be warm, like fresh bread from the oven, and your rest as deep as the night outside that quiet bakehouse door. Good night. Good night.